Hello and welcome to episode 39 of the Dose of Sinsanity. I am GR3. I am joined by Welshie and Jamokin. And we're kind of back this week on getting a little bit away from 82L Central stuff. We love talking about 82L. It's a big part of how we kind of grew as individuals in Dota, as well as through different orgs and tournaments and stuff like that. But as much as we love talking about it, we also love Dota as a whole. And we should be getting up to the new patch time, which is really, really exciting, right? Like, we love talking about new patches, what we want to see and all that. And we got loads and loads and loads to talk about regarding that. But first off, how are you guys doing today?
Doing pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. Kathy's father had Kathy's my fiance. My fiance's father's heart surgery went well, which is always a nice thing.
One or two E's.
Don't fucking do this to me.
Shut up.
For anybody who doesn't know, there's a different spelling apparently for if you're the male fiance.
Is it
or the
one E
female.
or is it two E's?
Is it two?
I'm so glad.
Two. Very good.
Okay, good. I'm
Very
learning.
good.
I'm learning.
I'm
I'm
so
learning.
glad that I don't have to go through this anymore, because it was like once a week, Jamokin would like
Ask you this fucking
would
question.
ask me
Yeah.
this while like me and Catherine were engaged. And
Yeah.
like we were engaged for like a year and a half.
Yeah.
And so it was like every fucking week for a year and a half, I keep getting asked one E or two E's. It's like, JMO, shut up.
Oh, I don't know. Every week. I don't know, man.
I don't
And you're like, I don't care. Like, I just don't care. Like, that's kind of where it goes. But
Just trying to help
going
you learn. All right.
I-
Like, why don't you appreciate what
that
I
you're
do?
I do appreciate that you're investing in my overall knowledge.
All right.
But let's kind of go into story time a little bit. So I don't know if I told you guys yet. I got to talk to Cookie's girlfriend.
Yeah, how'd that
Our,
come
no,
about?
our
dude?
number one viewer. All right, so to say I was flattered was like an understatement. So I shit you not, she goes, it's crazy to actually talk to you and hear your voice, because I just listen to the podcast all the time. I'm like, oh shit, I'm famous. I'm like, I'm fucking grinning ear to ear. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know what to say, but like, man, it was awesome.
What do you want me to sign? You know?
Mm-hmm. I'll be here all week. And of course, I'm like, so when we getting you on the podcast? And then fucking Cookies jumps in, dude. Ruins it. So we have no idea when we're getting her on the podcast. So
Cookies jumped in and ruined it.
he ruins it. I mean, he ruins everything. Ruins everything. Especially my games. We never won a game because of Cookie. It was always because of me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, listeners of the show, make sure you send Cookies hate mail.
Yeah, we'll put his email in the description. She try to remember that. So all hate mail, please just throw a bunch of shade towards Cookie's way. But we'll also put his girlfriend's email. So please, nothing but love to her, because
Nothing but love.
nothing but love, because we do appreciate our number one listener and all that stuff. Moving forward, new patch is coming. And it's always fun to listen to everybody's
Hold on.
ideas. Whoa!
What's your source? How do you know it's coming?
Okay, it's.
How do you know it's in 2 years out?
All right, first off, it might be, but Ice Frog is back, so that's hopeful.
Less. Oh, dude, I have so many expectations for this new patch, dude.
I do too.
None of them are gonna be met, dude.
None of them, because they never are.
Every
and
patch
then
is
we
a
get other
fucking
stuff that
letdown.
we fucking love. Like,
Dude,
who
Ice
was-
Frog's back. We get a new glimmer of hope. It might not be this patch, but the next patch, I'm putting all my chips. We ride or die.
So one of the things, Jamokin, you sent us a video, and I personally, I'm not a huge BSJ fan, just as I'm not a big Jenkins fan. They ruined my fucking pubs, like, for content, and fuck those guys. But if they are listening, much love. I love you guys.
Yeah, I love you guys. Make sure you shout us out.
Yes, but I did actually have a good time listening to this video of what BSJ's wish list is. So before we go into kind of ours, I do want to kind of break down what he said, because I feel like we always have these wish lists in saying, oh, we want Elder Titan back in the meta, which is like my personal one. But we never actually get to look at it from a pro player's point of view and like how each individual thing will kind of affect.
Like a high up non-memeing point of view, right? When I say high up, I mean like, high MMR, like not memeing. What do you want to see?
Yeah, and something where it's like not just a surface idea. Like like how would Elder Titan come back into like the meta? Like what?
No, I got you.
In order to make that, and it's interesting because he did break down a decent amount of how the small thing would affect the greater scheme. But let's try to dive into the first bit that he was talking about was change the lane setup because like God, for how long has it been 2-1-2? Like we had that brief period of tri-lane meta, which by the way was my favorite meta of all fucking time. Like, and that's really where it just really went into that roaming bit because like you get XP from the bounty runes, you're rotating the bounty runes of 4, like ganking all over the fucking place, mid laner's worst nightmare. But like
after you.
No, after you, I want to hear it.
You got a point, man. It's been a minute. It's been a while. It's almost like there was a time where there was a role in which you could get experience and money that was not in the lane.
Don't bring that shit back.
Brother, you knew this was coming and it's coming like a storm.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't even think that this was coming and now I fucking regret this.
You fool. You fool. You think this is gonna stop? No. Bring back the goddamn jungle.
That's enough patch talk. Because, she already made it to the jungle portion of his...
Yeah, which for anybody who doesn't fucking know and has heard me bitch about this for goddamn ever, Valve finally removed the quote-unquote jungler role assigned to everybody. Enigma's not a jungler anymore. Like, nobody has a jungler tag, which means officially it's fucking dead.
To be fair, one of the best things that Valve's ever done.
Shut the fuck up.
To be honest, she noticed this change before they even put it in the patch notes.
That is true, man. That is true. I guarantee she's one of these guys that has like the default like hero screen. I know he fucking does. And like he clicks and what kind of thing do I want to play? I want to play a jungler this game. He clicks junglers and only picks off that shit.
I've never been so insulted in my life by something so true.
I was gonna say it's that, or he has 3 heroes and then he has the show all other heroes button. And then if his 3 heroes are bad, he's like, oh shit.
I don't even know all the heroes.
That has quite literally happened in more than a couple of games of 82-0. I'm just like, well, there's my hero pool. Guess what's going we'll just spin the wheel, man.
I'm not even gonna lie, dude. Like in our last I guess I was in our last league game, but like week 1 of PSGS, like my hero gets selected and then like I'm trying to be a good teammate, like understand like the route that Jimo's trying to go with his draft and like the whole game plan, and I'm trying to look to see what's available, but my window is now like from what I was looking at, because I look at, okay, these are my ranked game heroes. This is what I want to ban. This is like what's strong in like each different like side of the map and things like what's strong for me. And I'm trying to look at the draft and figure out what to pick and put in my thoughts while looking at the smallest little like unlisted heroes box. Like it's scrolling through that. It's a nightmare.
Were you? That's funny.
Yeah. And then we end up, I think, game 2 picking a hero. Where afterwards I pulled a B-Jack, but I told JMO, I go, yeah, I've never played this hero position 4 before.
Oh,
like,
son of a bitch!
After the game, we won.
No, you gotta get the B-Jack laugh. It's my favorite part of him, dude, is whenever he does something dumb, he has a dumb laugh, and it's like two octaves down.
I'll never forget the picking fucking Lifestealer, and he'd be like, yeah, dude, it's a great Lifestealer game. Let's pick Lifestealer. We pick Lifestealer, we run, we win the game. I'm still trying to figure out why he's running around the entire map in the Thunderhide, but whatever, dude, like, who knows?
Efficiency.
Yeah, efficiency. And then he tells me after the game, or like I look and he hadn't played the hero in 4 years.
I mean, it's not a hard hero. You hit Q, you go. Your Q runs out, you run.
They push.
Thunderhide makes you move faster, I guess. Who knows? But going back is a way off topic. Going back to the 2-1-2 deal. So the way that he broke this down was he feels like the majority of this, and I honestly I don't feel like he's wrong, is primarily due to like denies, like formulas, the XP formula, sharing XP, in those instances. Like what actually made the tri-lane meta a thing was because you have like the bounty runes at the time would give you XP. They removed that, which instantly brought the meta back to 2-1-2 and no longer tri-lane. So I find that really, really interesting. And he was like, I would like some variance, not just this is a 3-3-1-1, this is a 2-1-2, this is like a fucking jungler, whatever, like hold your dick in your hand kind of thing. Not his words, by the way, mine. But like adding variance to the ability of different drafts and seeing this is a like we're going in, we want a 3-1-1 draft to fight their 2-1-2. And it's not going to hurt us because we're putting a carry to solo who has the ability to solo against two heroes. Or like we sack it and like you get as much as you want out of the lane, and then you can go back and you can farm jungle really efficiently. Or the opposite of, I just want an offlaner that all he needs is level 6. And so as long as you can stay in XP range, we can run a tri-lane to secure my carry's farm. So like having those different like strats and stuff based on the idea of it is okay to switch up the variance in 2-1-2 to like 3-1-1 or 1-1-3 kind of thing.
Or 1-2-2.
Or 1-2, yeah, you know. There was a brief bit where people were putting IO mid.
Yep.
And all that. Yeah, like even there, I didn't even think about that, but yeah, like how
I'm not
crazy
saying
would it be
I
to
want
have
the
a
default meta to be 1-2-2, but if it's within the realms of possibilities, I would definitely
Well,
love
like
to see that.
the whole idea of like what he's saying is he doesn't want a default. Like he wants like no default base. Like it's something where no matter where you're at, you're going to be able like whatever the lanes are, it's sustainable for all parties. And there's a lot of variance, which I think would be crazy in like your pubs, but especially really fun to watch in professional Dota. And like part of what he was saying is like you can accomplish this by different sharing of XP formulas. So like instead of having like 100% of the XP, like you get 60% to all parties if there's two. So essentially instead of 100 XP, 100%, you're getting 120% of the XP, but because it's split between like two heroes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or 40% for 3, once again putting in 120, or 30% for like 4. And this creates the ability of it's still good if you're getting 100% of the XP, but it's also good if like people are trying to tri-lane, they're not going to destroy their own games. And I think it's really interesting from a support aspect as well, because usually like you're in a tri-lane, like, okay, 2 people are getting the XP, one's doing other shit in the lane or roaming or like other things. Like you really want to avoid, unless you're killing, to have 3 people in the XP range, right? Because you definitely don't want 33% of your XP to go into everybody, because that harms you.
Yeah.
So like there's like a balance, and it's really, really hard, especially in this patch, to make up for that. And like a deny is so like it's so detrimental because you lose so much XP. One creep gets denied and you have 3 people in the lane. Like it's even worse for everybody around.
Yeah. I mean, be it you shouldn't be getting denied in a 3v2 or 3v1. Like,
right.
It shouldn't be happening. Obviously, it can happen.
In lower skills, I guess, yeah. But I mean,
well, even in higher skills too, like because you're gonna be like
I mean, at some point you're gonna have 2 in the lane because one dude's trying to manipulate the wave, and that's when they're gonna go.
One dude's trying to manipulate the wave, or one of them's going for like a bounty rune or some other shit, right? Or they're ganking. I'm more curious about like is that the only formula that we're really looking at? Is the alternative and the great change of the game is that 3-1-1 is another option, is like on the table again, or I don't know, man. Is it like is it 1-2-2?
Okay.
I mean, I think we're kind of starting at the start of the game.
I won't boomerang back to juggling, dude. That's good. I've been
That's
on my
where I thought you were going. I was like, or 2-1-1-1.
I mean, it's that, or like, I mean, in an unironic part of that one though, like, what if roaming was just stronger again, right? Like, what if like tomes came online earlier, right? And that way you could.
Roaming is still a decent part of the game, and the higher up in MMR that you go, like the more that is. But
Yeah.
like when you
It's just
have
time
somebody
centric.
who
a
is
lot of
roaming, like you're yeah, and there's so much time where you're just not getting any XP. And if you do that, then what's going to happen is you're going to have like your 5 that has to soak XP from your 1,
Yeah.
because otherwise you're going to be stuck with 2 supports at level 4 and at 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So personally, for me being a 4, in like where I excel is moving around the map. I would fucking love something like this where if there's 2 people in lane, like you don't get 50% of the XP, you get 60%. So like it is better for you, and you can find XP around the map, or God forbid, adding XP back to the fucking boundaries.
I'm with it.
I like the idea of having more of lane variants, even if like 50% of my games or 60% of my games, it was still like a 2-1-2. But you know, I could see the 3-1-1 or the 1-2-2 or something just crazy every once in a while. That'd make laning more fun. But I also like the idea of incentivizing the support to be in the lane more. We've seen this with the flag bearer creep, where it's the only creep your carry ever wants the support to be around in the lane.
Yeah.
Like if I'm killing a
say.
flag bearer creep, you better be in gold range.
Right.
But if
And
you
then
can,
as soon as that's over, I want you out. Like, get out of my life. I don't want to see you again. Fuck off until a minute.
I wonder if it opens up the door though. So you were saying about this with like 4 people in a lane, that kind of thing. That the
I
math
don't
would
think
still
anyone
work
said
out.
4 people in a lane. Oh,
Well, he brought
you
up
could
that,
have 4 people in a lane.
Yeah, he brought up that like obviously
It's
I
more
don't
when
think
you're
the amount
defending,
goes
though,
up.
like
It's
high
like,
ground.
yeah, you're defending, or like in the sense of like you're rotating down for a gank.
Yeah, no, there's a good point. I do like it in the form, because here's what I think it opens up. I think that like games where you're really slid, like backpedaling, I think that it makes getting experience and levels not so bad. And like, because I mean that the massive like experience gap that's created by just the simple fact that one team may
jungle
have
camps
access.
alone.
Yeah, the one team has access to jungle and the other one doesn't. That's a
You might
massive
have
gap.
2 camps and they have 16 camps.
And
Yeah.
like where like the scaling goes, like keep in mind it's a scaling aspect. Like it can't just be like 12 minutes, like you don't get this anymore. Like so it's get like you have to have a formula for 5 heroes. So it would be like 160 40 like 23 kind of thing.
I'm just interested
so
in
that's right.
whether or not it causes, say, early pushing to be more prevalent, like 5-man pushing at like 10 minutes. Is it more prevalent now because you're able to get more experience out of these lanes you're going into?
Sure.
As 5.
Sure. And that kind of like goes into the next bit. Holding areas in high ground meta. Like wards are better at holding areas right now, undoubtedly. Like I refuse to like believe in other instances that wards are better at holding areas than they are at being like aggressive. Like it's because you have a high ground ward, you see everything. You see multiple points of entrance. Like you can hold that area, and you're just not allowed to walk up steps. Like how, like as a carry, okay, how terrifying is it so many times when you just walk up on the high ground without vision?
It's awful. It's awful.
Yeah.
You're always tread switch, walk up, hover your BKB or your spin or whatever ability you have to save you, but
Yep.
it sucks.
You literally feel
Yeah.
like you're flipping a coin going up it, which is just
Yeah.
terrible.
And just because of one high ground ward. So one of the things is like changing up, and this would be like changing the structure of the map to where those high ground wards aren't as powerful, or giving access to be able to place wards that are going to be able to make going high ground easier, so that you can play more aggressive, where like teams are going to be more willing to kind of make aggressive plays and push and fight into areas that before there's no way. Like getting into triangle is a fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
Like it's
What
just
triangle?
too hard.
You mean biangle?
Triangle?
Because there's only
There's
2
only-
camps.
There's only
yeah,
2 camps.
Yeah. Yes, but like you know what I mean.
Well, our listeners might
Okay.
not.
Our listeners do now.
What if they only
Because-
started playing today?
Okay. Anyways, you know, like the area,
straw manning.
the area by your secret shop, and I don't appreciate you. But what historically has been called the triangle Okay, radiant side is that high ground area by the Roche pit.
Yep.
Dire side is the opposite side of the map by their secret shop, that high ground area. It's impossible because you have like, just by having wards on those two high ground spots, you see every single entrance point and you expose the entire fucking high ground area.
And the side, well, especially if it's radiant side, you're entirely exposing like half of the Roche pit side. Right?
Yeah, and the secret shop, and like it's such a large portion. So can that be done by manipulating the map? Yeah, I think so. Can it be by your wards don't have as much vision range? Which I think a lot of people would fucking hate. But yeah, and then like the other area, or like that he talked about too, is the mobility due to TPs. This is something I never thought about until I heard this, was the same amount of gold and cooldown for like the last like 2-3 years. It hasn't changed. So is it something where you can lower the cooldown, lower the cost, have no cost? Because like so often, like you're going to see like, you're going to force TPs to one area of the map. Underlord is going to TP the team to the other area, and then you're going to be able to siege. Right?
And I mean, even just lowering travels costs to like 1,400 gold, I think could have somewhat of this desired effect. You'd see more heroes potentially picking
You'd see
it
a
up.
lot of supports having travels, like as like first item.
Like you would go like arcane boots, disassemble it into like your Aetherlands, and then maybe go travels over Tranquils.
Yeah, but that terrifies me for Arc Warden, if I'm honest. It just does. Like
Well,
just
how
for
would it?
just for the concept that like he's gonna have travels super goddamn early now.
Well, he does almost every time that his things up anyways.
True.
And like so, but the way that you deal with like the Nature's Prophets and like the Tinkers and the like
Alt F4
Arc Wardens and shit like that.
Yeah, besides Alt F4.
Is you have somebody who can also do that on the other side.
Who also has travels
how
who
you
can be
stop,
around
yeah.
the map, yeah. That's true.
Travels has been for the longest time like one of the major items to stop split pushing.
Yep. And I think that like especially with how Tinkers have been, God, how Tinkers have been recently. Sorry, go ahead.
I mean, even Nature's Prophet. Nature's Prophet's like one of the best carries in the meta currently.
True.
And like you just maneuver all over the map, you get all the farm, you're uncontested, like you manipulate the entire fucking game. Like Jamo can look at our game one, week one, right? Like we shouldn't have been in the game as long as you were, but because we had Nature's Prophet that could force people back in a way, like it's the mobility on the map is so crazy. And like if you eliminate the cost of like TPs, or like you lower the cooldown on it, and then you're able to have more mobility across the map, you're gonna create more fights personally, but people can be more aggressive around the map, because if something gets split pushed, you're already able to go back. Like you're not fucked because you had to like TP like to one area, and like now I don't have anything on cooldown. Like it's waiting and trying to like walk back to lanes and shit like that. Like you have to be so conscious of just the cooldown of your TP all the time.
Yeah.
On every position.
I mean,
having more flexibility to TP more for a less cost and less mana would even make that early game more exciting, especially with these proposed XP changes. It wouldn't be as punishing for supports to like TP to other lanes and even just like hang out for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it also wouldn't be such a fucking like devastating thing when we forced them to TP and like had to cancel. Like, oh, we just fucked them. Like, you know, we have an open green light for the next 90 seconds.
And this is like another deal, like Roshan, right? Like in Outposts. So Outposts, like, does anybody consciously think we have to get the Outpost? We have to hold for the XP? Like, no, like no one really thinks that. Like they understand that's a mechanic. It is important, but it's not a high value objective. It's a high value objective when you're dire and it's, or like the dire one by the Roche pit. That's the fucking Outpost that matters. And for fuck's sake, TPing in for fucking 8 seconds, dude. Really? Like, lower that shit. Like, that's ridiculous. Like, TPing in for 7 seconds or 6 seconds, like, lower that fucking cooldown. Like, allow, like, more plays to be made.
I mean, I will admit, like,
why do we have the shrine?
Because they fucking put the fucking shrines in, and they're like, the shrines are stupid, so now we're gonna add fucking Outpost. And then Outpost is stupid. Like,
oh, why?
Well, remember,
why were we like shrines are stupid? Delete it.
They want more objectives.
I want a fucking creep camp.
So
give me a creep camp.
Here's the other bit. So he talked about roach location and like the type of objective. Like he's saying there needs to be like another type of objective similar to roach. Every single like objective or like roach is like the only objective, real objective, past 30 minutes. Like you get roach so that you can take like T2s and get all the outer towers. You take roach second time so that you can go high ground with your BKBs. Like there's really not like, and even past that, it's okay. We can't do shit until we have like until we have Roshan. So like, why not add a second objective? And I believe like other games have this. I know Smite has like creep camps that give you buffs. I know they also have like a gold type Roshan. I think League of Legends. You're an avid League of Legends player now. Well, like they have something.
Do you know
like,
what they also have?
What?
They have a fucking jungle.
Why do you want a jungle? That's so like it's already bad enough as a carry when I have to go sit in the jungle for 10 minutes.
And ganking. It's the best fucking role, and you get to carry games by yourself, dude.
No, you don't even get to play against heroes unless you choose to.
I'm bad, all right? It makes me feel better.
Okay.
How is just having two heroes duke it out in lane like heroes?
You get to be the strong man.
You get to be
It's
a
like,
bully.
It's literally bullying in high school. I'm gonna pick on the small kid because it makes me feel better about myself. Well, she just wants to pick on the fucking creeps that are weaker than him to make him feel better.
I want my early game to literally be a PvE farming simulator. All right, that's what I need. That's why I like that game.
Darker.
Fair enough.
But like giving this creates fights around different areas of the map. Like every single fight. Like, and he like another thing that he stated was like team fights have been forced around the same exact location and they're always exciting. They are, but it's always in the same fucking spot. This game is decided, and like it's got to be at the Roche Pit. We're gonna have a huge team fight. They won the Roche Pit fight. They won the game. Woo! Like you know what I mean? Like that's all
like
it
you
is.
You have outposts, you have TPs, buybacks, and then you go fight Roche. And you either win or lose the game some of the times right there.
It's all centered around this one fucking location of where it's at. Like, that's it. Like, you can even just move it. Like, move the fucking Roche Pit.
Yes, somewhere. We talked about him being right in the middle of the river.
Yeah.
He spawns in at 30 minutes or like 35 minutes. Both teams know he's coming. Wham.
And he's only there for like a limited amount of time or some shit like that.
And just duke it out in the middle of the fucking river. Like, fucking, yeah, like, it's fucking great.
What if he had multiple places he could spawn?
Oh, man.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, dude, people lose their minds on RNG. Like, we're losing the game, and Roche is fucking...
There's already RNG all over the place, though.
I know, but, like, could you imagine, like, you're losing the game, and, like, hey, we really need Roche, but we can't really take a Roche fight, but all fucking in this, like, it spawns right in your face in, like, your own jungle that is the only place you have safe in the entire fucking map. And like you get Roche and now like you lose all, like the other team loses all fucking advantage. Like, or the other way around, like, man, we really need a good like Roche spawn location. And then like this team's dumpstering you or whatever, and like all of a sudden they get a free fucking Roche on because it's
Roche is like in that triangle or some shit. Mm-hmm. Well, it would need to probably be more neutral spawns.
I still think the solution myself is to add another creature objective. I think you add a like Roshan.
Well, what could it do that's better than Roche?
I mean, so here's the other bit is like you can get buffs. You can get like different things, or like for example, put an objective that's going to scale, maybe a little bit weaker than Roshan, but by killing this camp, you get a buff or you get a neutral. And this is like the next thing he said was like. You get like with your neutral items, okay? You don't get the same number of neutrals. If you go on their side of the map and get it, then you can get a neutral item with added stats. Or you have neutral camps in neutral areas in the map that drop like a buff, like double damage. And or like you can get a double damage rune, or like you can in that sense, like Smite has that, and I think it's like arena thing. I haven't played Smite in God knows how long.
How other
So,
MOBAs handle the
you
issue.
kill this
Yeah.
camp, and then all of a sudden, like you have one player, like a couple camps, you get one player with DD, one player with Arcane, and now you have like a fight, like kind of.
We need
And
like
it's important
creep
to
DD
defend
though.
these.
I'd see. I really would want. Yeah, you mean like a creep buff? I really would like to see just Refresher Shard like split
No.
to be on another creature. Like that's what I would want.
I mean double damage that only applies to creeps. Because I don't like this. Because then the late game gets weird. It's like, okay, we're gonna maximize. We're gonna hit this camp. Make sure we have their outpost. We got the Roche. Like, I feel like you're gonna have this like checklist of shit you gotta get done in a fucking minute, and then run high ground to like maximize your high ground potential.
But we
It starts
already
to get
do
really
that.
weird.
But we do that.
No,
Like
it's,
people.
it's just bottle. It's have Roche, have their outpost, and maybe bottle a rune.
But then
Now it's gonna be like, now we gotta farm this special camp to get these special runes, and there might be 2 of them on the fucking map.
Well,
Like,
here's what he
But,
said.
but then it's like that. It's like, oh, neutrals are coming up in a second here. Like, let's wait till neutrals. Oh, this guy's close to this item. Let's wait till this item. Like, people do make assessments before going high ground of what
Yes,
you need.
but it's already a big list. Why would we want to add more to that list?
Yeah, I'm on the opposite side of it. It's already a big list. What's the big deal of adding another thing?
And BSJ
Why?
is also
Because
on
you
the
might not
side
ever get a
of-
timing.
Like BSJ is also on the side of bullshit here. Like he wants something other than like power and binding runes or like really anything in general that's gonna break up stationary farming. Like go on to their side of the map or hit these like neutrals like camps in your like farming patterns that you're not just gonna sit in the same fucking farming pattern every single fucking game, which by the way is weird that he's a carry and he's saying this. But he wants something other than these things to break up stationary farming throughout the game.
I don't think
And
any
force
fucking
you in
person.
different areas.
Yeah, I don't think any person who plays Dota can honestly, from their heart, say that. Like, even people who are the best farmers and the best position ones in the world cannot say that position 1 is not a boring role. Like Jamokin, you
Tell
like
me
0-1.
I don't.
Tell me
I
that.
don't think
Tell me it's not
carry's a
boring.
role.
You don't think carry is a
Not
boring
boring.
role. You don't think
No.
the first at least 15 minutes of the game or 20 minutes of the game for a position 1 is boring.
No.
The
You get to
deep
lane.
contemplation I
Laning's
could
the
hear there.
funnest part of the fucking game.
Boo.
I get to lane.
All right, well that's
You're
that's
trying.
that's a pos
you're
1
trying
versus a
to
pos.
say
That's a pos 1 versus a pos 3, ladies and gentlemen. Some of
No,
us are built to
it's
team
not.
fights. Some of
It's
us are
not.
built to eat creeps.
It's not because you want to fucking jungle and you want to eliminate all of laning stage so you can hit creeps. So don't fucking say it's a position 1 versus position 3 thing, and then say I like laning is not that much fun.
I would be a
will hit
jungler if
heroes.
it exists. You can't
No,
say that. There's no
because
jungling in Dota.
No, because this is your argument. Is you're fucking sitting here trying to justify how you need to bring back, get rid of laning stage. I just want to fucking be a bully to some creeps. And you're gonna say, oh, well, hitting
That's
creeps
not
isn't
fun.
fun.
Shit, he called you out on the podcast.
That's
dude.
fine. But the thing is,
What
it
up?
doesn't exist in
What
the
up?
game. Give me a
Right,
role where I
right.
can do that.
First off,
Drop mic.
there's countless PSGS league matches where our carry, before 15 minutes, is ganking their mid laner who is still laning. So don't tell me all carries do are sit there and hit creeps, because it's not.
Are you slowly transitioning in your David Attenborough fucking planet Earth shit? Get the fuck out of here, dude.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You son of a bitch. All right, yeah, no.
More on this at 5.
But yeah, no, it's fine. All right, I give you that. Like,
Mo-
it's
moving on.
yeah.
Moving on. Muerta.
So wait, no. I
Aye.
think this neutral item change, to farm it on their side to get added buffs, you would never farm neutrals on your side, and heroes like Crystal Maiden or something that can throw a free spell and get a creep are just gonna become mega value, because you're gonna want to farm all of your neutrals on their side for that added buff.
That's true. And then you get like Rickies or you get like Clinks running into the other side, and it's like it's a cluster, but in the same sense, like it sets
But
up.
if it was like, okay, you get 5 neutrals on your side, but you can also get 2 extra buffed ones on their side, I'd be cool with that.
see. no, that's-
Furthermore, I would be cool with just one more.
Can you steal their
Different.
neutrals?
No.
Are doing
I
that?
mean, if they drop and you pick theirs up, yes, but I don't like the idea of stealing their neutrals, because the game gets so snowbally.
It's that's gonna trigger the snowball back.
But
Like,
what I wanted to add was, if you could, during pick phase, you could pick 1 neutral for yourself at all 5 like lit tiers, and that was like your like everybody could pick 1
Ooh.
neutral, And so you could draft your hero in accordance to whatever neutral you want, or you could change your neutral to whatever hero you got.
See, no,
I
there's
would
yeah, no,
love
I'm
that.
with it. No, there's actually a fantastic idea. I would love for there to be an objective where you get to pick a neutral for either the next round of neutrals, or you get to like exchange one.
Well,
That'd
think
be
about
interesting.
this too. Think about this, okay? Going back onto like JMO's idea, okay? But you have to be the one to kill the fucking creep
Yeah.
to get that neutral. You know what I mean? Like, I can't just say, "Oh, I'm just playing support and I'm gonna have 6 last hits in the game."
Someone's
and,
gonna fart my philosopher's stone, and then I'll
Yeah.
fucking have my philosopher's stone.
right.
You know,
Like, you have to do it.
you got to go in the pit, throw some bodies around.
Mhm.
But so the reason for I'm gonna propose that change is because neutrals are supposed to be there to buff your hero. But the thing is since it's RNG based, there's times as a carry where I get no fucking neutral item that's gonna do anything for me. So maybe the 9 other heroes in the game basically got a buff, but I have something that buffs my spells, and I don't throw fucking spells.
And you're playing fucking Wraith King.
Yeah, it's like, oh great. Like,
Yeah,
what the
I mean, how many-
fuck am I gonna do with this?
Everyone
many
else is
games have we
sitting on a
played?
fucking tier 4 and you're on a tier 1 because there's nothing.
I mean, how
else
many
to
games have we
fucking
played
play.
where it's like a game has gone like 60 minutes and literally the reason you lost because you got all spell casting fucking categories. Meanwhile, the enemy team got like an Apex, a
They got
Dex-
like
got,
Gear
like, the
Shield, Apex.
Economicon, fucking all
Yeah,
that shit.
they got
like,
dope
yeah,
shit.
like,
got
you can
fucking
actually
trash.
lose off of that's
Yeah,
losing off of
forces.
RNG. At 60 minutes, that can lose you off of RNG. And
100%.
like at the very least, what I would love to know, if I'm honest with you, I would love a factor to also be just in that general category. I'd like to know what the neutrals are for the game, which I know, like maybe that's terrible to say, but like I don't like the RNG aspect of it of this game. We don't play this game for random chance.
That was my my other thought. If you weren't gonna let us pick one with our hero, at least let us see what they were before we picked heroes.
Yeah. Yep.
Because
at least-
people
yeah.
point to, well, Sniper's just gonna get, fucking Dragonlance Grove Bow and he's just gonna shoot me forever. You could do the same thing, man. You could be like, all right, I'm gonna try and pick Sniper and have Grove Bow and do exactly what that shitter's doing. Just pick Sniper first.
Pick Sniper first,
Like,
pick Drow.
people are gonna point to shit that might be broken, and it's like, well, then just pick the broken shit and pick the broken neutral.
Yeah, and then you get to counter it. Like it's not like it's so busted having Grove Bow Sniper that it's unable to be countered at all. Like you then get to counter that hero. Like it's a very viable thing. I mean, I've always said this about Dota.
You
though,
see
period.
Grove Bow and like shit like that, you're instantly gonna think, well, they're gonna fucking Sniper Drow, Nature's Prophet, like shit like that.
Yeah.
And then you can be like, okay, well, I'm gonna pick Gap Close and take advantage of an armor item or something like that.
I mean, it even introduces a way of just being able to tell what are they going to pick based on these neutrals. Like, okay, they're more leaning towards like, it looks like the neutrals are like super right clickers. So people are going to build right clickers. That's cool. It's cool to know that.
Yeah.
Even more than that, I would say that I hated mid matchups when the whole thing did come down to like, okay, rune spawn on one side. Like Power Rune, I think still does that, right?
Yes.
Like I hate the aspect of like it's both one goes up, one goes down, 50-50 chance. Who's winning this? You know what I mean? Like that shit kind of.
If you have a position 4 that knows what the fuck you're doing, then
it shouldn't be that way. You're right.
Yeah.
But it's
Or like-
I don't know. That's less RNG. I just think that like obviously like neutrals especially become more RNG the later the game goes about who's going to win this game. And I don't like that. That's something I've always hated.
So I'm going to move us along for sake of time.
Please
By
do,
all means.
because I brought us back, and that wasn't
love-
right.
We love talking. We love talking about Muerta and how it's going to be a position for.
Shut the fuck
Network.
up.
So he proposed, and I fucking love this. Give me Muerta that doesn't have a fucking stun and a mobility spell. Because
Has one or the other.
yeah,
You
like,
already
one on the
know
other
it
side
has
or
a mobility
neither.
spell.
Ooh.
We're past that.
Like, but we're not past that it's going to be position 4. But like the thing is, like every single hero, you look at Primal, you look at fucking Mercy, you look at Pengolier, or like I mean, he doesn't have both, but like you see these heroes being introduced, and it's like, okay, they can be played in any fucking role. Like because their kit is so good because they have a stun and a mobility spell. Like you have to nerf the numbers so fucking bad to make it not super OP. Like, he's like, give me a fucking hero that has an obvious role, meant to be mid, carry, support, offlane. Like, it just has an obvious role based on the like spells that it has. You know what I mean? It can't just be played every single fucking role.
I'm behind that. I really we did this thing where Dota suffers from power creep, like every game does, to be fair, that ever gets patched. Power creep always becomes a thing. And we had it with the movement speed. Do you guys remember when they basically like nerfed everything movement speed related? They put caps on nearly every movement speed
they locked
ability.
it. Yeah.
Like they really tried to slow heroes down a bunch. And then we go ahead and we add these heroes that have all these movement speed abilities and all this shit that makes them move faster than sound. And it's like, I feel like we're suffering from the power creep again, where eventually the hammer's going to come down. But I just can't see this hero not having a mobility spell. I just feel like it does. It has something to, if I had to guess, it has something to do with like when it kind of went ghost mode.
Like phasing and shit.
Yeah,
So,
like maybe it moves faster and then its right clicks do like magic damage instead. Like I don't know.
So funny you mentioned that, because I did want to bring up, and I wasn't able to make you guys aware before this, but I don't know if any of you have seen it, but they recently were able to pull off of the code from Dota. They have a recommended build already posted for Muerta.
All right. Well, this is breaking news.
It
laid
is.
out. What's the build?
Tell us what the fucking build is.
So remember, this is recommended items, and let me go, first off add the asterisks of Marcy's recommended item build is, what is it? Soul Ring Phase into Armlet into Basher. Like, that's her recommended by Dota build, right? And obviously not often played that way. But Muerta's recommended build is Tango's Quelling into Soul Ring into Phase into Maelstrom into Blink into BKB Daedalus Scotty.
Holy fuck. I think it's a carry.
Sounds like a position 4 scaler to me. I don't know.
Shut the fuck up.
I'm saying it again. I'm saying it again. Marcy's recommended build is a core build. She ain't played that way.
Well, look at Marcy.
Yes, but maybe this hero won't have mobility, displacement, and stuns.
I'm just saying Marcy's position 4 build literally was fucking like BKB Basher.
Oh, it was, wasn't it? Shit.
Yes. Position 4.
I don't know a position 4 who's got a Maelstrom built in.
You know,
Snapfire.
fucking Snapfire, fucking
Shit,
Hoodwink.
you got a point.
Hoodwink.
Does have Maelstrom built on. We're not out of the woods yet, but I'm just saying.
No.
I have
Jimbo's getting nervous.
I have to admit.
Like this.
Well, here's the thing to also be said, though. I have to admit, dude. How do you, like, she's built into Revenant's Brooch as like her, as like an aspect of her. How does you not work in Revenant's Brooch into, like, how do you work Revenant's Brooch into?
What if this is an int carry?
I'd be down for that, because, well, that's just gonna mean she's gonna build fucking Orchid every goddamn game.
Or it's a mid laner.
Shut up.
Or
Shut up.
Eminence Brooch is a later item that is really, really good for the position 4 when it scales.
Whoa, no. Her scepter is a Revenant's Brooch.
Anyways,
it unlocks.
Well, I think
Scepter upgrade.
standard when they add a new hero, I think most times out of 10 they don't actually release it with a scepter. Like, we don't. We usually don't get scepters or shards.
no shards.
Yeah,
because they just want to see.
They realize,
because it's really hard to balance it. Like, you have enough time.
They have to nerf it like 6 times. Well, no. First, the hero comes out. Reddit says the hero's dog shit.
Yes.
Please buff.
Yes, thank you.
Buffs
Holy
it.
shit.
Hero's fucking broken because it was already fucking broken. If you guys just played more than one game and Reddit's fucking spells, you would know the hero's fucking borked. But no, they go ahead and buff.
Steps to understand if a hero's broken. Give me step 1. Yay!
No.
Read the spell.
Jesus.
Oh
Dude,
my
it's
god.
but no, you are right though. This is the tradition with one of Valve's newly released heroes. Is that like it gets released, people play it plays like dog shit for literally like a week because no one's played it and has any idea what they're doing. The win rate's like 40%. They buff it for no goddamn reason, and then it's 75%. And it's like, well, overcompensated for new people bitching.
I'm gonna move us on. Otherwise, we're gonna talk about Muerta for like 2 hours.
Scary.
I want to know what you like. I want to talk about what we want to be added, and like I like the idea of all of this shit, but like I would love to see some of the smaller items be built into larger ones, like Falcon Blade finally getting to see its time. But my biggest issue with Falcon Blade is simply the fact that like it doesn't
A
build
dead end
into
item.
shit. Yeah, it's a dead end item, and you're going to get rid of it. So why not build the like fucking Falcon Blade? Like either nerf the stats of the item and make it less
Well,
similar to like an Ring of Aquila,
why
or
don't
build it into something that's larger.
why doesn't it do what Wraith Bands do and like those items? 25 minutes, it just gets a buff.
That's exactly
Even
what I
if
was
like if it's
thinking,
gonna be
yeah.
a dead end item, at least have it scale somewhere. I think that could be fun.
Yeah, I mean, don't just
But I
fucking
don't I like
have this
conceptually, I
item that
don't like
does
dead end
nothing.
items.
Yeah.
Yeah, these early game dead end items just don't feel good.
And then I saw someone in the post also talk about blade mail and giving it like an added item, or like
Somehow
Arcanist
they-
something
armor.
that can build it. Make Arcanist armor a 7K item.
Yeah,
that
ridiculously
uses blade
expensive.
mail,
Yeah.
and maybe like I forget the fucking 1400 armor item.
Hood of Defiance?
Plate mail. Like put plate mail into it, along with blade mail up to like the armor stats, and then like give it a fucking like ridiculous recipe.
It could almost be blade mail and like Crimson Guard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to see blade mail and some kind of magic, like blade mail and like a Hood of Defiance build, like something that exists there. That'd be for
How
me.
much
Though.
would fucking axe players love it if it's fucking Vanguard, blade mail recipe?
Hood of Defiance.
All of them in one, all in one item.
In all honesty, like you think about like what the item actually does, like it's gonna give you armor, it's gonna like what you got, like reflect damage. Well, put it with an armor item, put it with a fucking what you call it, the blade mail, and then all of a sudden you have like a 6K or like 5.8K item that has relevance in late game, where you automatically are like, okay, Axe can be more of a hero because now he has like an added aura. And it's not just like, okay, I've got Vanguard and I've got fucking Blade Mail. Well, fucking Crimson Guard's been asked for so long, and like it's finally making a comeback. But like,
Yeah,
Crimson Guard's been asked for so long, so I don't want to buy that. So I'm going to buy Abyssal on Axe, just so that I have this fucking item that I need, but I can build it into something. And then the same thing with like Blade Mail. It's like, well, now I have this like really cheap item, but I have to carry it with me for the duration of the entire fucking game.
yeah, I'm with you on that actually. So
Blade Mail.
no, there's it for me. I think is I would love to see try to make Crimson Guard somehow valid again. Like maybe that is it. Maybe Vanguard plus Blade Mail like actually doesn't go Arcanist armor. It doesn't go that stupidly good, because I think Arcanist armor is one of the best neutrals there is. Period.
Yeah, but if you just nerf the stats of Arcanist armor, then you can still fucking have it.
Yeah, fair. You have to nerf it quite a bit, but then I think, yeah, I mean, I would love to see, sorry to like just take on what you were saying there, but like I want to see not Arcanist, I want to see Crimson Guard have a reason to be built again. Like not even again, just period. It's never been that valid, and I'd like to see it come back.
It's starting to in the off lanes, because like Centaur is real big. Like it's being built a decent amount on like even like Pengos and Brood Mothers, but like
Broods, I get. Yeah.
it's mainly because, well, your carries are fucking Sniper and Nature's Prophet, and then they're gonna like click the shit out of your team.
They need anything to survive. Yeah.
So it's that's at least what I want to see. Like I want to see the smaller items. How about you guys? What do you guys want to see?
You want to go first, Dylan?
I do. I want a fucking total map rework. I the only thing I want them to keep are the 3 fucking lanes. That's it. I want a total. I don't give a fuck if the map's like 4 times as big and TPs are free on 20. I want a map rework. I want a map rework with new fucking areas. I want like a Valley of Death where the creeps are harder. It's all low ground. The fog's heavy. You can't see far. But like the XP's fucking good. So like, am I gonna risk it in the biscuit to get this fucking good or what?
I need the Rocky soundtrack right now.
I
want more.
I want more levels. I don't want most of the fucking map being flat.
Yes, right. Exactly. Like this valley, it could be low. And like it could be heavy fog, so it's like hard to kind of see people in there. And like the creeps are worth a lot. And like I don't know where you'd put it so you could balance maybe the other side from Roche. I don't know. But like I just want more to the map than it's like I'm on my top high ground, I'm on the medium ground, or I'm in the river.
Make mid laners fear for their life like a fucking POS 5 playing into like Blink Initiators and a fucking Spectre. Make mid laners fear. Like, because they have to be in this fucking lane.
What if the map morphed as the game went? What if the river got deeper?
Oh.
So like it's safer for mid laners near the start of the game when
what if there
laning.
was a
But then like after 10 minutes there's like an earthquake in the fucking
that's I'll say this, that's straight out of League. League has this thing where, so they do have, and this is like a couple things that I think League does right. So they have opposite of their version of Roche, they have something called the Dragon. And the Dragon is, every time the dragon's killed, it changes the layout of the map. Like it actually changes the terrain. Like there's all new like walls and high grounds in all these fucking areas.
Yeah, that's cool.
And like cliffs. All the cliffs get kind of rearranged.
That is pretty neat. As much as I don't want to give credit to League of Legends, that actually is pretty cool.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
That,
I mean, I thought of it first.
You did. You did.
Independently of them, not first.
Yes.
They clearly had it first. But I don't know. Like, I just want a new map, guys. I just want to like. It sounds stupid to say I want to explore, but like, I just want new. There could be so many different farming patterns. Like, we might be able to get out of this whole boring. Well, not boring, but like the traditional way we play Dota. Like, I think that would change the game the most. Regardless of like the whole laning situation.
Yeah.
Like, what if we just made the map fucking bigger and added an extra tower in the lanes? Like, what if there were 4 towers
Can
in
you
the
imagine being in the middle of a fucking fight, like 1v1 on somebody, then all of a sudden the fucking
a cliff appears.
A wall fucking appears between you two, and you're like, "Oh, this is over."
Well, like, imagine like you knew though it was gonna happen. Because what if it was all set on time, right? So you took out like the RNG, is someone killing the dragon or not? Like, I might not know. And it's like, I know this wall is going to be built in half a second. So like, I'm trying to escape from someone and you like force staff. And then the fucking gate's like, bam, shut. And it's like, poggy as fuck.
That gives some pog. That would give some pog, I have to admit. I mean, I'm with it.
Like the CM just fucking juked the Slurk and now she's gone.
Yeah.
You know, like, I just make the map new.
Make it interesting. No, I'm with you. It's a stale ass.
Do it in a way that you keep competitive integrity.
Yeah, I mean, I think we touched on both of them today, honestly, which I think is really good. I think I want to know, or at least have some way of controlling neutrals. Like I want some mechanic introduced there, so there isn't an RNG amount associated with like, oh, we got dog and they got these amazing neutrals, and that literally might be the reason we lose the game. And I want. And maybe this is combined with it, maybe this is separate, but I want an objective on the opposite side of Roche that actually is something worth going for. I'm not trying to steal it from League, but I do think that having some kind of objective or like something to kill or something that's involved in some form on the other side of the map is super important. I think that just the need to control top side is too prevalent in this game. I think that you need to be making choices as a team to either control Roche or control this. And it's a decision you have to make as a team. It's not just this automatic fucking formula of win lanes, take all tier 1s, take Roche, continue to push. The formula for winning in Dota is too goddamn bland.
Well, on the other side of the map, you just have the secret shop, and then you have him give you quests. And you just go do quests for him. He can give you jungle quests, Welshie. I want you to bring me 3 satyrs heads.
That's what I want.
I will give your team 800 gold.
Give me quests now.
You got jungle quests in Dota. And the first team to complete the quest gets the reward.
And well, she's gonna come into and sing "Jungle's back, baby."
It's back.
When if that
doing
ever
quests.
in
Hey,
the-
Welchie, can you help defend high ground? In the middle of a quest, guys.
no,
Sorry.
dude, I'm in a quest. No, dude, I swear to you, like it's gonna be a decade before they do it, but it'll come back, and I'm gonna scream.
I'll be there for you, buddy. I'll
Appreciate
be there.
it.
I'll be in that game.
Oh man, you're gonna kick your kid off the computer.
You're goddamn right.
Jungle's
back, baby. I'm back in it.
man.
Have a heart attack.
So I want to lead into something else. We're gonna just complete this switch here. Y'all know how much I love listening to other podcasts and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And such an interesting topic came up, and it talked about the DPC and like player payment and all that. And we've kind of touched on it a bit, but here's the thing: is an SA team, okay, and an NA team or a Eastern Europe or Western Europe team, all are going to make the same amount of money based on how they place in Division 1 or Division 2. Is there an issue with that? And we talked about in the past how, well, there's this whole like cost of living aspect. And there has to be some sort of fairness. And like the key like term for this has been equality versus equity. Okay. For those of you who don't know, equality based on this would be like everybody gets paid the same. It's what Valve does currently. Everyone in every single division is, if you get first place in Division 1, you're going to get 30,000 USD. If you're second place, 28, and then goes 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22. And across all regions, this is the payment for it.
Yeah.
Now, equity would be everyone gets paid based on the region and the cost of living. So the amount of like USD that you're going to get in NA is going to be a good bit, probably significantly higher than what it's going to be in SA. Just because you have to justify, well, the cost of living here is significantly higher. So we need more to essentially be paid the same, because when you put it in terms of cost of living, 30,000 USD in North America is not even remotely equivalent to 30,000 USD in South America. What are your guys' opinions? Should Valve go more towards the equity version or the keep it with the equality version that they're going right now?
Well,
I think that you have to think about the idea of, like, I mean, this is a question that's always been posed, which is why would you go to NA for a major? Like, why would you go to NA for any reason? Because we are the single most expensive country to fly to get visas for, to fucking, like, I mean, we're fucking impossible to get visas for. Like, and, you know, all this other shit. We've had tons of fucking talks about, like, how many times in TI in Washington did the issue of someone's visa didn't get approved, so they may not be able to play, be a fucking issue for some goddamn reason.
Well, I feel like that is every single place. Like, you're going to have issues with visa. And the way they tackled this was the new format of the DPC, where it's only like, I think it was 6 weeks that they're doing each bit. Division 1, 6 weeks, and then Division 2, 6 weeks. So now, like, and then major comes after Division 2. So like your Division 1, now all of a sudden you have 6 weeks to get the visas instead of like a week.
Fair, which helps.
Which is huge.
I think that personally, I like the idea of it, at least in theory, because of the idea that, again, you have to give interest to these teams to come to these regions. Like, why would I spend twice the amount getting to like America or somewhere like that, you know, getting to the US major, or US whatever competition, when I could go to the South America one and it would cost literally like half, maybe 75% of what it would for this. And I'm either just as likely or more likely to win in South America. Like, why would I travel there? The thing that kind of occurs to me is just, look, I think when you're coming from Europe, whether you're going to South America or going to North America, I bet the costs balance out. Like, they're not noticeably different. So it gets, I mean, the main ones to compare to me are North America and South America. Now that I'm just kind of thinking about it, because they're very different, right? Like there's a
SCA
Peruvian,
is also there as well.
sorry, Southeast Asia as well. But like
Yeah.
those are like the really big difference ones to me. Is like, look, you have NA, which is like really expensive and it's really high end. Like obviously it's high end production and everything like that because it's got like great cities to go to with great arenas. And then you have SA, which is like way lower cost of actually having to travel, way lower cost of like staying arrangements. I'm on the side of keeping it equal, man. Like I just don't think that it verifiably makes it different enough of a difference to make it like, unless you make it something ridiculous, right? Like, oh, well, you should really go to the NA major and like it's like a 60,000 prize pool. Meanwhile, the SA major is like 15,000. And I mean, I'm going to dangerously say
when you talk about
this.
majors, though, like majors are every single division. So like in majors, things have to be the same.
Yeah.
Because it's you have your prize pool for the major. It's
all your divisions are going
every
to that
region
major.
is going that major.
Oh, you mean in
But,
just
like,
any
it's-
DPC event though?
Yeah,
The
but,
DPC
like,
season.
the DPC season,
Fair.
30 like you get 30,000 USD from winning the NA Division 1, but you also get that in SCA and Western Europe and China and Eastern Europe and South America. They're all the same.
I think. Sorry, go ahead.
Should there be a discrepancy in, like, say you get 45,000 USD for NA for taking first place, but 27,000 USD for SA? Because, well, you put a stat on here. The cost of living in Peru is 65% less than in America.
Yeah, on average.
So if you kind of curate it to, well, this is going to come out the same based on your cost of living, like similar, like my cost of living where I live is significantly less than like LA. If I take my job that I'm having now and I go to LA, then I'm going to get paid more than I am now because the cost of living is significantly higher and there's got to be a balance.
Yeah, you got a point there. So then I guess, yeah. I mean, otherwise you have dead regions. Like, I mean, actually, I take that back.
Which is
completely
NA.
switched me. Yeah, exactly. You completely switched me. Because even like we've talked about this, the idea that like SA as a region is growing, and it's because of this in part, right? Because you have this way lower cost operating costs for this business because it's a business. All of these teams, as great as they are, have business sponsors and are thought of as a money making venture, right? So I mean,
here's the difference here, though. Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good.
SA region is primarily people from Peru and Argentina, for the most part. Like, I would argue that the majority of SA players playing in the SA region are from there. North America, most of these teams, and especially the top end teams, are not NA players. And like, so they're living elsewhere, playing out of like the headquarters of wherever they're at, but like
flying in for
they
NA
can't,
events.
yeah, like they don't want to live there because, well, they're not making as much. It's better for them to live in fucking Malaysia and play in the NA region because it's easier for them to win because we're not as good, and then they can go back home with that prize money, and it's easier for them to live than if they actually lived in NA.
Yeah, it's exactly like that. Like if you're paid the same at, like, exactly like I said, so equality, if you're paid the same between LA and, middle of nowhere, Iowa, like where you, for the same job, where are you going to live, right? Like you're going to live where you're going to make more money based on the fact of your expenses.
Yeah, you're going to limit your expenses to make more money.
Which is what's going to happen. You're going to have min-maxing of regions.
So, I mean, that's a part of why NA is not as competitive as other regions, because it's impossible to kind of do it in NA unless you're already the best of the best.
And all your NA
players or you're 16 years old, right?
Yeah, and your initial investment in the actual like running of it and getting them a practice facility and shit is near double to triple what it is in other regions, right? In like South America. So the only way that you can balance that out and have more NA involvement and more regions that are involved is by you have to do it by the equity method. You have to have a prize pool in America of like, in North America of like 60 to 65, and you have to have a prize pool in South America of like 20 to 25. It's just the way it is if you want NA to be involved in as a region.
So I'm going to blow your mind, and this is actually not me playing devil's advocate here.
Mm.
I am more for the equality version, and here's why. I think that where you make up the difference. So this is a prize pool. This is the amount of money to me that Valve has. They separate it into different divisions, and to me, that's fine. But where the cost of living and the equity thing needs to be different is at the organization's level, not Valve. You have a specific amount of money. I don't. It's like essentially it's a big tournament. If you think you bring this down from TI, right? Like this is all TI. Like yeah, TI, you have the majors because it's all about DPC points. Your upper echelon of things. This is the amount of money I have. Like this is my TI fund. I break it down into my majors, and further there, I break it down into my DPC season. It's if we don't argue that the prize pool should change at the TI level, I don't think it should change here because this is Valve's money and the amount of money that they allotted, and it is separated into different branches of the main tournament that they're running. And unfortunately, this is kind of how, like Dota's like Pro Dota is separated. It's like I have this major tournament and I have minor tournaments that help me get into the major tournament. And then in order to get into those minor tournaments, I have to do well in these small little leagues essentially. And it all like kind of builds on top of itself into a pyramid to get to TI. And if this is your fund and this is how much money I have to distribute, you're just distributing it equally because it's all part of one. I'm fine with that. To me, the orgs need to pick up in the aspect of the equity version. And this is where orgs, in my opinion, like they're starting to run from Dota, but like there are obvious orgs. And if you're in different regions, well, the orgs aren't going to have to pay as much, but they can pay to make up for that because they do give salaries to their players in their contracts.
So,
for example, if you're EG, and I'll just let me say this and then I'll let
Yeah,
you
of
go
course.
and argue me. EG, who just moved from NA to SA, right? EG may pay like their players, I don't know how much it is, we'll just say 50,000 for the entire season in NA. Well, they can go to the equity version. Now they moved on to SA. Now they may only pay 30,000 for the entire season.
Yep.
And that's where it differs, I think, within the org level and not Valve level. And personally, I believe that should be the outline.
See, for me, is I have to look at where do orgs get their money, and orgs get their money largely from Valve. I'm gonna throw away all the sponsorship shit and
See, I
any
think they're
merch
mostly
sales and stuff.
sponsors.
I'm gonna put that to the wayside because that's you only get sponsored when you end up going to big TI events anyway, for the most part, unless you're one of the best teams. So
Sure,
a
and
lot of
you
teams
win.
operate without a sponsor for a long time.
Right.
And so now I'm an org. I'm a new org. Now I have to. We're gonna win a major for $30,000. I'm an A. I don't even have enough money to pay my players with that. Like I'm only getting my like in this situation. I'm only getting my money based off what we win from the DPC season or a major. So we might finish first in the DPC. I have $30,000. Well, I have to pay my 5 players $50,000 by the end of the year. If we don't start doing well, I still have this salary to pay. It's not contingent on them winning and me keep making more money. I have to come up with this money from somewhere. And so orgs have to get this money from somewhere. They're largely getting it from Valve. So that's where I see more of an equity approach from Valve's perspective coming in to then meet the org's equity perspective on player sellers. Because like as a business, the best thing you could do is go to the poorest region, pay the least amount of money as you can to the players, and keep as much as possible. Like from a pure financial bottom line perspective, that's what you would do. Because then you get to keep most of the money.
So
I mean,
is
not
that
only that, but you
something-
lower your risk of investment, right? You're lowering the risk of how
100%.
much you're putting on the line by a big factor, right? We're talking 2 to 3 times.
So let me ask this then. Is this why you see NA orgs running?
Of course.
Like now,
Yes.
now you
It's
have
nearly
like,
not. It's nearly non-sustainable.
you have Shopify Rebellion, TSM, Wildcard Gaming, Bait, and outside of that, like T2, you have nothing. Like you maybe you can say CDub because we know CDub, but I wouldn't even. This isn't meant to be a slap in the face CDub, but they're a startup, right? Like they got in. This is their first EPC season. They just got in. Like they probably can't even play their players right now. They just have a banner that these players are running under, and it's essentially a stack with a quote unquote org's name. It's the same aspect if we took Potisens or like Granny Sports mix it in. Like I don't know how much they're paying their players. It can't be much if they are, right? Like it's we like they can't afford to actually pay these salaries. But then when we look at SA, okay, we have Beast Coast, EG, Thunder, Alliance just went into LATAM, or their LATAM team. Infinity, Infamous, going Division 2 even, you have Paradox, you have Dreamers, Lava Esports, Mad Kings Esports, Balrog Esports. Like you have all of these orgs in SA. And is this chasing teams away because, well, it's not sustainable, like you said, in NA, but it is in SA.
Even if it is sustainable in NA, you're purely just making more money going somewhere else. If the money the organization takes in is the same regardless where you go, you're going to minimize your costs. So you're going to go to these cheap regions, assuming the players perform well. And we know these SA teams. They're some of the best in the world. Like these teams can win TI. Like they're fucking good. This isn't like SA of 4 years ago. You know, like these teams, in my opinion, are fucking really strong. So yeah, I feel like you're just incentivized to not be in NA.
So
Yeah,
here's,
and I think
another
thing, I think players have to subsidize the fact that they can't really be paid as much in NA with the fact that they're all stream. Like I don't know about I can't talk about other regions. I don't watch largely streams of languages I don't speak. Like they don't show up. I have the English tag, but like I constantly see these like Div 1 NA players streaming Dota.
So that actually brings me to a point that I was going to talk to you guys about. That isn't on the sheet. Surprise, surprise.
Ooh.
Now, to me, majority of where an org is going to make their money is based on sponsorships.
100%.
And in NA, their companies are going to give more money to NA teams than they will to SA teams. And that's a lot of
maybe.
I'm going to guess because to me, Monster Energy, now they're more likely to sponsor an A team than SA. Now, whether sponsor went with EG to SA, I have no idea. But like that's just it's a large corporation based out of the United States. They're going to stay in the NA region with their sponsorship.
So
No.
here's my counter argument quickly on that because
Mhm.
it's pretty small. Is you're getting a sponsorship largely to go to the major, and you're gonna have English coverage of it. Like your team's gonna be set in English just as much as it is in SA. So you do have that. You're still gonna have that NA viewership, and like the more like Monster Energy is more of a luxury drink. So you're still gonna be able to, I think, hit your target demographic, and these orgs are still gonna be like, well, you got to pay us. Like you're gonna get millions and millions of eyes. I still want my money. I don't give a shit. I'm an SA org.
Sure.
Pay me, or somebody else probably will.
Now,
It's the only thing I could see coming up against that.
here's where the other biggest bit is. Okay. And this is where I think orgs really are shit at. You brought up of like all these NA streamers. Now, if you look at SA and like actually dig into it, you will make more money streaming in NA than any other region in the world. And a lot of there's been pro players that have talked about it where they're like, it's hard to actually make money anywhere else in the world other than NA. And a lot of streamers like Dendy streaming English and to get into those NA streams because that's how you make money. Like Dindy is not a primary English speaker,
No,
right?
not primary.
Like he's from
So-
fucking Ukraine.
So when you say streaming NA, I'm curious about this. Do you mean streaming for NA or streaming in NA?
Streaming in like NA
Both.
region type thing. Yeah, I guess both.
Streaming during NA hours and
Yeah,
streaming.
NA hours.
That's what I was kind of curious about. So I mean, the
Yeah,
idea
sure.
being, that's known
And-
though, right? The
and,
the
well,
primary viewership
of
for
people
events. What's up?
they've talked about this too, in the sense of like NA doesn't want like, or people want to stream to any NA hours because that's where they make all the money. But like, if you're in Ukraine, like Dendi, and you're streaming during NA hours, well, your fucking like quality of life goes to shit.
Oh yeah,
Like, because now you're streaming from fucking like
7 p.m. to 7
7
a.m.
to like
yeah.
fucking 7 a.m. and now you see no sun. Your quality of life goes to hell because you're trying to make money. Now, where the orgs, where I think they fuck this, is it's not like they're not required. Like a lot of people aren't required to stream and really produce the brand. And a lot of it is because, well, the orgs don't pay as much, and these players, they don't give a fuck about the brand. Like, unless you're like Nigma, who fucking owns it, or you're Dendi and you own Bait, you don't care about the brand because most likely you're going to go somewhere else. Where, in my opinion, the orgs need to expand their brand and have pathways in order to do so. And part of it is streaming. Require X amount of streaming during X amount of hours in order to like get like a certain following. Put your org's thing on there. Advertise the org during this. Make money for the org because part of your stream and what you get during this while you're advertising the org has to go back to the org, which will in turn be able to pay more money into the other players and things like that. There's also like you brought up like, oh, well, it's Monster Energy. They can go anywhere because it's going to be streamed at the major. Well, first they got to get to the major. But where they're going to see this is if on the like streams they have Monster Energy on the streams, that's advertisement, and they're streaming a specific amount of time, like during X amount of hours. Like these are things like they're more likely going to be NA because if they're streaming based on this, they're going to be doing things in NA hours. And that's where they're primarily going to get like their sponsorship because they're going to be showing. And like sponsors, yes, they like their teams and stuff, but like what they care about is the number of people that see it. What are the stream stats? What are like how many people are going to be watching this concurrently and seeing these big name players?
Show me the analytics.
Right. And that's what they want. So you're going to be able to get more if you're streaming and you're doing things like this, and then you can pay your teams more. And the orgs, they fail at this. Like they don't require this. And then even the same aspect, like how many fucking people like are actually required to do interviews during like events? They're not. They're not required to do different content. Content is what gets sponsorships because your name's on it.
I feel like we're way down a rabbit hole here. I'm not gonna
Well,
lie.
Hey, but no, this is big. Well, listen, this is free advice.
But like they're not required to do content. Content gets you paid. And then like and it's gonna come back around, but like content gets you paid, it gets viewership and things like that. And the orgs don't like or they don't require you to do these specific things. So when you're trying to get sponsorships or you're trying to get paid for other things outside, like say streaming or say content that gets like a bunch of different views, say OG podcast, they get a lot of money off their streams and that goes back to the org. Like the orgs don't require you to do this to the point where like these guys actually throw a fucking temper tantrum when they actually have to get like interviewed like at an event. Like how many times did Fuse when he was on here that he had to do these because he couldn't get his own team to do the interviews because they don't give a shit about the brand. But when you give a shit about the brand,
It's so stupid.
get more
But
money.
players don't.
Yeah.
Ah, dude, but these guys
And
see
then
no
you're
sunlight. Like they're not here to be. Here's the thing. Like I don't honestly believe that like a lot of these players are here to be rock stars, which I think is pretty cool. I think they're here to be the best team.
Yes.
Like fuck the fame. I'm here to be the winner. Do you know what I mean?
Orgs
Anna.
give you
I'm
money.
gonna bring up Anna Thompson.
Orgs give you money. Orgs are what solves the issue of the amount of money you're winning from your placings and your DPC, and the entire solves the issue of the equity issue.
They're also the ones who make it
And
possible for them to live the life they live, where they
when you
play
have-
Dota for 12
right.
hours, right? Sorry, I just wanted to say that.
So when you're NA and orgs are leaving and they're going to SA, like granted this is great for SA, but like your orgs are leaving NA, no one gives a like it's just unsustainable for orgs. If they do these specific things and orgs can like actually make money off of just not where they place and buy their brand, then they're able to pay, and then your equity like is solved. And all they have to, like, there has to be some sort of pride by the players in order to be centered around the orgs, and you have to do this bullshit. It's the same thing like NFL.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's an exactly comparison I was gonna.
You have you have Marshawn Lynch, who he's obviously required because he keeps getting fined by not fucking showing up to like his interviews and post game shit. So he sits there and says like,
I'm just here so I don't get fined. Yeah, he's famous for that.
But he's required by contract to be there.
Which is the funniest thing, because when you think about it, everybody knows he says that, and it's a fucking catch line, which has actually done good for the org. Do you know what I mean? Because Marshawn Lynch has become known.
Exactly. Well, he's known before then, but like
you know what I mean. Like he became more known by the common man by saying, "I'm just here so I don't get fined." He became a meme, for God's sake, which was great for the org.
Which is great for the org, which means that more people are seeing it, you're more recognizable, which means you get more sponsorships. More sponsorships means more money to the org, which means more money into your direct pocket.
The thing is players should be invested in their team, because then you move your halfway team. Because in Dota, there's a lot of halfway teams, I feel like. Like, you're on this team until you can get onto, like, a big team. Would you guys agree?
Oh, yeah.
Like, everyone's striving, everyone's on a B-list team until they can get on an A-list team.
Yeah. Yes, you're all trying to get onto those A teams. But if you invest in your brand, you build it up, you're going to get more of a fan base. The org's going to make money. You'll be able to negotiate better, like, salaries and shit. Like, you only stand to gain by investing in that brand. Plus, when you do shit like this, people become a fan of you. So when you move to a different team, they might move with you. How many Sumail fanboys did you guys know playing Dota?
Well, how many fucking Arteezy fanboys that fucking EG just lost?
Right.
You know
exactly.
I mean? Like you're a fan of Arteezy, you're gonna go where like Arteezy fans are now Shopify Rebellion fans.
Yeah, you're gonna find a lot of obviously.
They're not EG fans.
Yeah.
No.
Like, so you lost like a huge basis, but like,
I mean, even OG lost a lot of it when even Notel's a CEO now, or like the manager of it, or whatever the fuck he is. But even then, like,
he's a shared owner.
Yeah, he's a shared owner of OG. Like, in full honesty, like, were OG fans still OG fans when the entire roster got replaced? Like, in reality, right?
No, not nearly as much.
Like, I'm not a Na'Vi fan.
I didn't care about the new stack.
Yeah, I wasn't a Na'Vi fan without Puppy and fucking Dendy. Like, it's the same thing.
I like Secret because of Puppy.
Yeah, I mean, when you're not regionally loyal in any form, right? When you have no regional loyalty and you'll move your team to wherever you want to go, then no one's loyal to you. You lose loyalty in that way, so you instead gain it based on player loyalty. I'm an OG fan because of No-Tail. No-Tail leaves, not an OG fan. You know what I mean?
And where you get like your orgs and where they fail in this situation is they don't create organization loyalty. They create like there's players because they're not required to do anything under the banner. And like, so now like you move, no one gives a fuck about you, or this player moves, no one fucking cares. You lose half your shit. And then like fucking like Demon goes to fucking what was it, TNC. Like people are big TNC fans because they love Demon. And all of a sudden Demon's gone. And who the fuck is TNC? And they just melt their way out of SEA. So like there's like they're missing like this big aspect of like you look at like the NFL and you have like I'm a fucking big Pittsburgh Steelers fan.
Fuck
it started because of Troy Polamalu, who's my favorite player of all time.
Mm-hmm.
But he's gone, and I still remain a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. Or Tom Brady. How many people were big Patriots fans because of Tom Brady?
But we're actually just Tom Brady fans in disguise.
Yeah, but they leave and like, yeah, they still root for Tom Brady. They like the Buccaneers, but they're still a New England Patriots fan.
Yeah.
Like all of this sells, and it sells merchandise when you hit these different targets and you build the brand. and then all that goes into your pocket, and then all of a sudden your equity versus equality doesn't matter in Valve because your equity is solved in your orgs, and then because they're able to produce and pay more because you're building the brand as a player. The players fuck up in this, the orgs fuck up in this, and then like if they didn't, your equality versus like equity, not even an issue. More orgs come in, they're building the brand, and all of a sudden you have the fucking like your Philadelphia evil geniuses and your fucking Tallahassee fanatics. Like, you know what I mean? But they're
Yep.
brands and they stay, and you have a fan base, and you're not based solely on
I mean,
this one player.
I'd be curious. We can get into this next podcast, but I'd be curious about to see the relationship, in full honesty, that players have with their teams. Like, how do most players view teams? Do they view them as these these machines that are basically just whipping them behind them, like saying "Go make us money," or do they view them as like this? These people that gave them their shot. Like, where does it exist? You know what I mean?
It's a stepping stone to be able to put. I can almost guarantee you it's a stepping stone in order to fund them to go to the next level.
So, I mean, that's possible. But that being said, I'd love to hear the opinion of like a player who's gone through that. Like, I mean, it's not even that. I mean, we're never going to get that info because we can't just straight up call up Artur or anybody like that. Well,
Yeah,
maybe
Artur, if you're listening, buddy, just come out and tell me your thoughts.
yeah, tell me how much you hate your organ.
Yeah, honestly, anybody that was on EG.
Yeah, I mean,
who's
I'd
now
be
on Shopify,
curious to
let us
see
know.
how they feel about it, though, right? In the same way that, like, with all love in the world, like, it's not like football players have their ideal teams they want to play for, but I mean, if you get transferred, you get transferred, right? You go to wherever city you're fucking paid to be in. I'm curious to see like what pro Dota players think of those orgs, right? Secret had a bit of a different model, being kind of a player-run organization, but like Navi, things like that, Liquid, like, what's their relationship? Like, are they just a?
But even then, you have Nisha leaving for fucking what's her dick?
Yeah. So I think my opinion, to wrap back up to it, is that I think your solution is probably the better solution, but I also think at the same time it's the less likely to be possible.
It's a long term.
Because you're bringing up the standard of these orgs, which no one holds them to a standard yet.
I think it's still a band-aid solution and fucking stupid, and I think that's all our time.
That is all of our time, and you are entitled to your shitty opinion.
Thank you for taking us on that journey, though.
Yes, you're welcome.
Fun journey.
Anyways, like you said, that's going to wrap us up. Thank you guys so much for listening in, and we will see you next time on episode 40. Adios.
Later.
See ya.